Anyway, I want to say welcome to everyone who showed up. I had a viewer a second ago. Looks like they've dropped off. But anyway, first I'd like to say welcome to everyone and mention my websites. The first one is www.employfriend.com. And the other one is www.goldenliberty.swissgoldglobal.com. And I'd like to tell you what we're about. We're trying to learn how to sell people or tell people about real wealth, real knowledge, and real income. And I hear somebody talking, but the sound's not quite coming through. Oh, it's me. Okay. Bear with me because I'm still learning this new technology. Anyway, for today's broadcast, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I want to tell you that I came up poor, what they'd call dirt poor. And dirt poor, where I grew up, often meant dirt floor. I did work in orchards, picking fruit. My grandma used to say, old enough to walk, old enough to work. I used to collect worms at night and sell them to the local base store. Squirrel was considered a delicacy where I grew up. We ate the creatures of the forest. It was our main source of protein. There was a popular TV show once we got a TV called Good Times. And we used to watch it and go, wow, those people are so rich. They have water actually in their house, and they have that fancy couch that folds out into a bed. Growing up like that gave me some twisted ideas about money or some twisted money programming. I thought you were either born with money or you weren't. And if you weren't born with money, you would never have any. You just kind of worked and scraped by. Maybe if you were extra smart or extra lucky, you'd get a job with the government or maybe a big company and maybe even be able to join a union someday. Well, I knew there had to be a better way. So one of the things I did was to um, start looking at something called the Dow Jones Industrial Index, which is also called the Dow. And I found out that regular people could actually buy parts of companies, and it was called stock. And so the first stock I bought was something called Panchos Mexican Food. And ran into some problems with that. First thing was that Pancho's Mexican Food decided to expand into Mexico. And in Mexico, Pancho's Mexican Food was not Mexican food. And also, the cost to go to Pancho's Mexican Food for a family of four was almost as much as a weekly salary for your average Mexican worker. So it didn't necessarily do well. But they actually crashed when they had a bunch of pesos and the value of the peso crashed. In fact, I knew people that had vending machine companies that were buying pesos instead of tokens because they were cheaper at the time. So a little bit later, I was in college, and one of my classmates talked about a program called, or a company called Arco, the Atlantic Richfield Company, and how they had just made a big deal with China, and they were going to make a lot of money from it. So I decided to buy the Archos stock. Arco did much, much better than Panchos. In fact, I was able to sell my stock plus my saved up dividends that they had paid me, and I put a down payment on a truck. Pretty good. So now it's about 20 years later, and I think I have this stuff figured out, and I want to pass it on to you. I don't know why other people don't pass it on, because there are people that know, and some of these principles have been around for about 100 years now. And I can't say that I know how to make $1 million in the market quickly, but I do know how to flatten the curves. I know how and why people lost a lot of money in like 2000, 2002, 2009. And the way you really get ahead is to take those losses away and have little losses and big gains. So again, my websites are, and you may want to look at this in a mirror, but my websites are www.employfriend.com and www.goldenliberty.swissgoldglobal.com. And I thank you for watching. Again, this is J Elwood, and I want to leave you with what I call the new golden rule, and that is, he who has the gold makes the rules.